Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this Bray Wyatt theory video. That feels weird to say. I am so used to saying White Rabbit theory video, but now, of course, we know that Bray Wyatt was behind the White Rabbit mystery. He was behind the White Rabbit cryptic clues, and what a moment it was. That moment last night where we finally see him and he walks out and the crowd go crazy. The whole return was fantastic. We're going to talk about it. We're going to touch on it. We're going to talk about some of the big news today. We're going to talk about a lot of the things I've been sent, a lot of the theories that are out there. It's a pretty big video, this one. It's got plenty of things in there and hopefully things that you will find quite interesting. If you haven't heard the news already, this is the big news today. Bo Dallas is apparently returning to WWE. Now that is huge because Bo Dallas is the real life brother of Bray Wyatt. Now the timing makes this very interesting because I think if they wanted Bo, they could have gone and got Bo pretty much at any time. Isn't it interesting that this news breaks, this news is reported about 12 hours after Bray Wyatt returns? They have to be connected. I have to think that they are connected. So I think a lot of people are looking at this, thinking that Bo is now going to be in a new Wyatt family. He's going to be in the new Wyatt 6, and he absolutely could be. I can't see any reason why he wouldn't be. The only thing I would say is that he might want to stand on his own 2 feet. You know, as they were doing the Wyatt family before, Bo was actually not a part of it. You know, Bray and Bo were in WWE at the same time, but Bo was not connected. He wasn't in the Wyatt family before. So it might be that he doesn't want to join the Wyatt family. It might not be something that Bo wants for his own career. And obviously he can decide what he wants to do with his own career. But I think it probably chances are that he's been convinced to come back and join up and be in a Wyatt family. If not, then I've got to think that Bray probably negotiated his return because obviously Bray will have had negotiations for coming back. One of those stipulations might have been, I'll come back, but you need to bring my brother back as well. So just a thought, just throwing it out there. It's absolutely not a foregone conclusion that Bo is going to be with Bray. But I would say that that's probably quite likely, certainly when you look at the timing of this. So big news that's got a lot of people pretty excited. If we move forward, then we'll have a look at some of the things from last night. So I don't know what to call this person. We don't know this character's name. But we got this person on screen in the Firefly Fun House. Very interesting. Something was bugging me all last night, and I was like, what does this remind me of? It reminds me of something. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then I realized this morning, it reminds me of Anonymous. It reminds me of Anonymous. I know the masks are not really alike. There's a few similarities. But the reason it reminds me of Anonymous is because that masked person is trying to come across the TV in the funhouse. He's trying to like hack in, if you will. There's a lot of static. He keeps fading in and out. It seems a bit of a struggle for him to get his message across, mainly because I don't think he's meant to be on that TV screen. And that's a bit like Anonymous. Anonymous hack into other networks. They cause havoc. They cause disruption. They get their messages across, and they are known as a hacking group. So I certainly don't think this new persona is a hacker or anything like that, but I just thought it was very interesting that that's how this new persona got its message across, and it did definitely make me think of Anonymous, who also wear masks. We also got this as well. This might be nothing, so I won't spend too long on it, but when that person on screen said, "Who killed the world?" a couple of times we got this sort of an image, and at the very top, to the left, you can see what looks to me to be a couple of eyes and hair, and that looks to me like a slightly distorted face. I saw it and I kept coming back to it. I kept looking at it. I did wonder if it was just the mask that was being distorted, but that doesn't explain the hair, and the eye holes are not quite as big as what that is. So I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. There's no way of kind of unscrambling this. I wish there was, because it does make me wonder when they say who killed the world, who are they talking to? Are they talking to us, or are they talking to Bray's next victim? Could this be a glimpse at Bray's next victim? The only problem is we can't see exactly who it is, what it is. So we don't know. We're in the dark at this stage. But it does make me question those things. Who killed the world? Who are we talking to there? Who are we talking about? And I just found these images quite interesting. Another image that was very interesting, even more interesting, was this one, which I'm really not seeing too many people talking about, to be honest. This image is on the screen. So, yeah, this is a stunning image. And this feels like it's been recorded especially for this. I'm not aware of this being in a film or anything like that. And it does remind me a lot of this image from Kyle Scarborough, who put this out. This was meant to be a real life concept for Ramblin Rabbit, I believe. And so that you can see there, I think kind of feels very similar, like the outlines and everything. So I think that's clearly a rabbit. That's clearly a rabbit with the ears. And as I said, it reminded me a lot of this image. We are going to talk about the human puppets, because I've got quite a few thoughts on those coming up, but can't quite get my head around why this was in there. I think this is very, very interesting. Then we obviously got to see Bray now. What I want to say about this is there's the mask. That obviously connects to what we've just been talking about, that character that was on screen. It feels like they are connected. This does not feel like it consumes Bray the same way that The Fiend does. What I think is really interesting here is the fact he takes the mask off. He takes this off. He doesn't take off the Fiend mask. He takes this one off. This feels to me like it's entrance gear. This feels like it could be some sort of persona, if you will, but I don't think it consumes him the way that the Fiend did. He actually looks down the camera and says, "I'm back." So he seems actually quite human, if you will. He doesn't seem to be consumed by anything. Obviously, we've got very little to base that on, but he wasn't being all fun and Funhouse Bray. Like, he wasn't doing that. He wasn't the Fiend. It was a little bit cult leader, actually. I was getting cult leader vibes. Obviously, the lantern is a big reason for that. But I think the fact that he blew at the lantern and stared down the camera and spoke to us, and, you know, it just felt quite human and real, and I really liked it. I really liked it. I do think that some of his previous creations, The Fiend in particular, I think they were very popular, but I think they did have some limitations. I think wrestling in that kind of gear was very difficult. The red light that was shown during matches obviously wasn't to everyone's taste. Certainly, actually, if you was colorblind, it was a big problem trying to watch the matches. So I'm wondering if what we're seeing here is Bray kind of returning back to kind of a cult leader type character. And I thought it was interesting he came out with that lantern. I thought it was interesting that lantern was blue and not red. That shows change as well. Obviously, the new mask is one of the biggest talking points. But as I said, the fact he took it off and was able to talk to us kind of suggests that this is not like the Fiend. So a few takeaways just from this tiny little bit that we got to see of him. A few kind of interesting takeaway points. The mask is seemingly based on this, right? So we spoke about Anonymous, but we have to mention this. This is from the film Black Phone. That mask was made by Tom Savini in his studio. These are the same people that have been behind the Funhouse, behind the Fiend character. In fact, the early Funhouse episodes were filmed in Tom Savini's studio, and there's a chance that the kind of derelict, abandoned Funhouse we saw, that might have been filmed there as well. The bigger set seems to be filmed in Tom Savini's studio. So I think the fact that this mask, which I believe was from a 2021 film, this feels like it's definitely inspired the new creation, the new mask. So I wonder if there's a bit of that, a bit of Anonymous. There might be a few things that are in there. But yeah, that's kind of where we are with this mask. We don't know too much about, well, we don't know anything about this persona other than it looked exactly like the thing that was on TV. So I don't know. Very interesting. Could that thing on TV be guiding Bray, and Bray wears a mask similar to it to show solidarity? Don't know. It's a fun little theory that I literally only just thought about. Right, let's talk about the puppets, shall we? Now, I'm going to say something that's going to upset people. I don't think these are sticking around. I look at these costumes. I think they're, considering how detailed and in-depth a lot of the Funhouse kind of characters are, these costumes feel quite, not thrown together, right? But they feel temporary. They feel short-term. I mean, look at Ramblin Rabbit. He's wearing some dungarees that have just got little bits of fur on. He's just got a grey jumper. He's got some grey standard gloves, just some black boots. I mean, yes, they've managed to, like, you know, create the mask, but you ain't wrestling in that mask, right? Obviously, you could take the mask off, I suppose. And the same could be said for Mercy. Maybe you could do the same with Huskus, but I don't know. I really don't look at these as characters that are sticking around. I just don't think that they are, I don't know, detailed enough. I don't think there's kind of enough there for them to be sticking about. So I think that I'm seeing a lot of people trying to work out who these people are. You can do that. I'm not going to bother. I don't think these are sticking around. I feel like these were brought to life to bring him back. I feel like these were brought to life to kind of, I don't know if we're saying goodbye to the Funhouse, but I feel like these were brought to life to, as I said, you know, kind of help welcome Bray back to WWE, and it was all part of the spectacle that was kind of that moment. I don't know that we see these again. I certainly don't expect them to wrestle. I do think that these costumes are going to be very restrictive. They would have to take the masks off. They would, I mean, like, what would Abby do? She'd have to take her dress off and everything, because there's no way she's wrestling in that. I don't know that Huskus can wrestle in whatever the yellow thing is there's around his waist. So, yeah, I don't know. I look at that and I feel like the costumes are quite restrictive. Certainly the masks are. And I don't know that they are sticking around. So, yeah, just a thought on that. I know that's not going to please people. But if you compare the concept art that they were doing for, you know, what they wanted these to look like compared to what they actually look like, these feel like they have been, I don't want to say rushed. Because this was brilliant. It was done really well. It was rough. It was ready. I think it was perfect. It was great. But I think if we were keeping these around, I think more work would have been done personally. So, yeah, I'm not thinking we're going to be seeing them going forwards. Another thing to point out, this has been everywhere. Look, you got Brodie. Brodie obviously sadly passed away. A lot of people are saying there's a tribute to him. If you actually look at Abby, you don't see Abby's face, but what she's wearing is like a skull mask, and that skull mask looks pretty much identical to the skull mask that Brodie used to wear when he was in the Bludgeon Brothers. So people saying that could have been a tribute to him. As well as that, another little tribute in AEW. Brodie had the blue light. Maybe the blue light is meant to reflect that. You know, perhaps the blue light is meant to be a connection to Brodie, because obviously when Brodie arrived in AEW, he had the blue light behind him, and it was a blue light that Bray walked out of. It's a blue light that Bray is carrying. In a way, is Brodie showing Bray the way. I think that's really nice if that's kind of what they're going for. We do need to talk about that. I mean, Brodie passing away was obviously devastating for Bray. And we only saw him a few times after this. You know, I mean, we saw him at WrestleMania. That actually might have been the only match we saw him in after Brodie had passed away. He may have only wrestled that one time. So I don't think it's unfair to think that that is going to have influenced and shaped kind of Bray's thought process. So, yeah, I think the blue light could absolutely be a reference to this. Very interesting, very cool if it is as well. A few other bits to just talk about. Liv obviously lost to Ronda. A bit of a shock, to be honest. I really thought Liv was going to retain. There is an interview that's done backstage where she is sat in a corner, seemingly crying, but also kind of looking quite dark and sinister. People have got very excited about this, saying that she is 100% now going to be Abby, and she's going to be playing the role of Abby. Again, I really don't know that we're getting the puppets coming alive. That's something that I think people want. Some people want. I don't know that we're going that way. But she could join up with Bray, absolutely. I think there could, and you know, the Bo news in particular seems to suggest there will be a faction. And I think it could be the likes of Braun, Bo, maybe Liv, maybe Rowan. I think what's really interesting is we just spoke about Luke Harper and some tributes to him. There was no tributes to Rowan, which I thought was very interesting. I know he's not passed away, but does that mean that we might be looking to bring him back? Why would we not have a little nod to Rowan? He was such a big part of the past. Why would there not be no little nods to him? Maybe there is. Maybe we just didn't see them. But as I said, definitely this has caught people's attention. It is just worth mentioning as well that her social media and Seth's social media has kind of gone all black, which again has caught people's attention. So lots going on in the hours after Extreme Rules. This as well, I just wanted to point this out because when I first saw this, I thought those belts were actually fan belts. I thought that was just a couple of belts people had put down next to them. I think those belts were put there for a reason, and I don't know the reason. I wish I could sit here and tell you the reason why those belts were placed there. But those belts in the background, 2 championships. I looked into it. Alexa's won the Raw title 3 times. She's won the SmackDown Women's title twice. That one on the left definitely looks like a Raw Women's Championship. The one on the right, if I had to guess, I would say is a SmackDown Women's Championship. I don't know that because you never can quite get a good look at it. But yeah, that one's a bit tricky. They've been put there for a reason. Is it just to reinforce that this is a female? I don't know. I feel like that's quite obvious. I don't feel like we needed the belts behind. So that's interesting. There's I would imagine, I would wonder if people are thinking that these are going to come alive. Is anyone looking to see who's been a one-time Raw champ and a one-time SmackDown Women's Champion? Is there someone out there that's had those belts once? Could those belts belong to Abby and who is playing the role of Abby? That could be something to look into. So just more food for thought. And then the final thing that we've got is this. This was right at the end of the show. And this is seemingly a new logo. A lot of different thoughts coming in on this. And I'm sure there's going to be things in there. I'm sure there's some patterns and things to decode. But one of the best theories I've seen is this one. So Cicada 3301 was a set of puzzles that were put online between 2012 and 2014. It ran for a few months. People were trying to decode them. And it's one of the most elaborate mystery puzzles of the internet age. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because the image for it was that. The Cicada 3301 his logo was that, which I'm sure you can agree is very similar to what Bray has given us. So, and again, you know, if you look at the puzzles that we've just had from Bray with the White Rabbit stuff, I think there's an interesting connection there as well. So that's pretty much everything that I've seen and things that I've been sent. I'm sure there's more. I still haven't had a chance to go through absolutely everything, but I wanted to get this out there with just some of my thoughts, theories that are doing the rounds. Let me know your thoughts and theories down in the comments below. I know this was a long video, 20 odd minutes. I wish I could have made it a bit shorter. Maybe I could, but I wanted to make sure we got in as much detail as possible. And I know that you guys appreciate that. So, and I appreciate your support as well. So thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it as always. And I will see you for the Raw watch along when hopefully we'll get even more answers. Bye for now.